Welcome to the VO Life, a podcast for those who are trying to figure out how to build a career in VO from a guy who just seems to always learn the hard way. Now here's your host, Troy Holden.
Hey, and welcome back to the VO Life. This is a place where we kick the tires and talk about things and come up with things that I've been going through. But hey, we're in for a treat today. You don't have to listen to me for 15, 20, 30 minutes. We've got a special guest with us, and this just happens to be the person that won our mock audition. Hey, Jenna Birmingham, how are you?
I am so good right now. I'm very well.
Good. What, a one or two in already? It's a little early.
Yeah, well, you know. When does a day really start and end in VO anyways?
Is that not the truth? I'm waiting on an email for a directed session for the 10th or 11th and didn't get it today as far as time. So then that makes you have to wait another day and you can't plan anything until they tell you. And it's like that all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, flexibility is definitely key.
Yeah, and anybody that says starting your own business, working for yourself, you're going to work a lot less. I'm not yet. I have to work twice as hard because, being new, I'm having to do a lot of marketing and a lot of this and that. But my gosh, I feel like I work 7 days a week. I don't do much on the weekend, but it's always something.
Yeah, no,
it seems.
You're always working to some degree. And honestly, you'll be laying in bed and you'll be thinking about how you want to do the next read or what you need to do better, or am I going to get a demo made in the summer or should I wait till the fall? And do I want to coach with someone you can't help. It's kind of an addiction in a way. So you're always working, and the business marketing stuff that never goes away ever.
Right. Yeah, like you said, the wheels are always turning. It's almost impossible some nights to lay down and just go right off to sleep because there's so much going on as to what happened today or what you're worried about for the next day. It's crazy. So tell everybody exactly where you are in this beautiful country of ours, and tell them a little bit about your production work that you do.
Okay. Well, I am a California native, and I moved to Dallas, the DFW area, for my day job as a commercial producer and voice for one of the production hubs here in Dallas with Odyssey. And I basically am available to voice for any of our 256 radio stations, as well as our streaming stations and our app. And then in terms of production, I only have to worry about generally producing for 11 markets, which is about 56 stations. So I only make about, 2,000 to 3,000 commercials a year.
Holy smokes.
A lot of time to practice.
Crazy. Yeah. Goodness gracious. That's a lot.
It is a lot. But it also, when it comes to submitting, best works for potential awards or which stuff I want to use for maybe a demo refresh and stuff, I have way too many things to choose from. So it's great to have work. I would never complain about having too much work. But I will say there's a lot of choices that make it a little more challenging.
Yeah. We talked about that a little bit over the weekend. I was trying to repiece my demo together, and you were a big help with that. And that is part of it, even with the handful of stuff that I've got. And what's really been hard for me is chasing some of it down after it's done. You kind of got a little advantage there. You can, it's there. But I've had several. I've gone back to the agent or gone, try to always get the producer's name or something where I can tag them or find them on social media and say, hey, is there any way I could get a link to that spot or find that spot? But they're hard to find sometimes.
They really are. And a lot of the times when, if I'm voicing stuff for other producers and stuff, I'm definitely like, hey, to either the producer or the one who cast it, whomever. It's just like, hey, can I get a copy of this when it's finished? Or, can I share this on my social media after it's aired? Or, trying to get, not proof that I work, but some kind of something that I can be like, look what I can do, and for my own marketing purposes. And tracking stuff down can definitely be a challenge.
Yep, I know what you mean. I've run into some of that stuff that's, it's really good and you really want to get it. And, it was either a decent sized market and it would even look good as a video up on your website or whatever. But anytime I do something that's goofy or crappy, they immediately send it to me the next day. If I was the voice for a dog, and he was like a sergeant or something. It was a couple of Aussie dogs, and the guy really he makes nice looking little videos, and he always, as soon as he's finished, he can't wait to send me the link. But stuff like that I get back all the time. But no, you do a spot for Kentucky higher education, or I did a Virginia COVID spot that I really wanted to get because they had me do a lot of just off the cuff lines, and I thought, I wonder which ones they used.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And you never find out. They say, well, what would you say if it were you answering this question? You say it just in your own voice, however you'd want to say it, and I thought, wonder if they use that, but who knows?
Yeah.
I can't get my hands on it. Some of those things are hard to get. So a day in the life, that many spots in a month.
Oh no, that's in a year. That's in a year.
I'm backing up.
Okay.
All right. 2,000, and you back it down to this many a month, and then it's this many a week. That's got to be really. It's probably not stressful, but it's probably really fast paced.
Oh, it is stressful. I'm definitely working in an kind of organized chaos state with the job. Because also while that's going on, I'm also bouncing, voiceover requests from some of the rosters that I'm on, as well as if I get an audition to come in, and I'm doing voiceover work before work, during lunch, and after work for a little while, and sometimes simultaneously, depending on what my workflow is. So, and my boss knows a lot of us do it, so it's as long as we're getting our day job stuff done, we have their blessing.
Right.
But yeah, there's kind of an order, because some of the stuff that we make, it's not necessarily making a spot from scratch. Sometimes it's literally just injecting, your voice part on a donut or adding a tag, or sometimes it's pulling an endorsement down that a DJ has done and then making it, editing it for time and putting a bed on it and throwing it back up. So, some of the commercials can be made in 5 minutes, and, some of them take longer. And there's certain times a year. November is the craziest month of the year. And that's when we're making, upwards of 20 commercials a day easily, with no question. Like, that those are what the days are going to be like. But then in January and February, like today was a slow day. I think I made 10 or 11 maybe. I don't know. I don't really count. But it was not a busy day by any stretch. I had a lot more voiceover things that I did today versus production stuff. So.
Yeah, this is kind of neat because it's a different look and a different way that you can be in voiceover and something else, and how they can tie together. Because I think you're the first person I've talked to that's doing that type production at that level. Now, I do.
It is rare. There's.
I think, it's got to be.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
I'm incredibly fortunate with the fact that I am a producer and a voiceover talent. There aren't a lot of us, and there's especially not a lot of women that do both. We have, I think, 35 producers in total in my company that, work in these hubs, and there's only 8 women. So just because we're still not as in demand as male voices for reads. And and I know that there's a woman over in iHeart that has my same job. So, I know that they're doing it. And, a lot of the companies have kind of switched to this because it is cheaper to have one person working like a horse, doing all this, versus having one producer at a station who's maybe making 5 things a day. And so from that standpoint, it's all about the money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's rare. And that's, I have a shelf in my studio that's full of unicorn stuff, because women who do voiceover and production generally get called unicorns. And so that's how I've acquired that shelf of stuff.
Well, it's neat though. I was was fascinated by it. I do a little bit. I mean, of course, I do my demo stuff, but I've got one client that does a lot of HVAC commercials around the country, and they send me the jingles or the donuts or whatever they have. Sometimes they'll send me something and it's not even the right timing, and I've got to split it up and make it work and do all that. But you're right, you can knock one out pretty quick if you've got the music bed and all you're doing is throwing 15 or 30 seconds of your voice in there. And it's usually because they have a sing in and a sing out. A lot of them do. I just do, 18 seconds on a 30 maybe. But the catch is they send me the website and it'll say, here's the link to their website and here's the sound beds and here's, they want this to be $25 off service special. And that's all I get. And I have to write the copy and then do all that, which takes a little bit of time.
And you should be charging for writing that copy, by the way.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I do. It's not a something I'll get rich on, but because I'm fairly new with them and just started right before the end of the year, this week they sent, well, here's 2 more new clients, they're going to use you. So what they're doing is taking the ones I sent and they go, hey, we got this guy and this is what it sounds like. And, so I think right now I'm getting played in Washington State, in Seattle, some in Texas and some in Georgia. So I'm hoping that'll really expand in the South because that's usually where I do better. Anyway,
I've been really surprised. I am all over Florida. Like out of all the places, I'm surprised I have more freelance clients, roster clients, and then we have 2 major markets in Florida for work. So I am all over Florida. But yeah, it's really cool just knowing that, I've got family and friends all over the country, and every once in a while I'll be like, did you happen to do the Elk Grove Auto Mall? Yeah, that was me. They're like, I heard you. I knew that was you. And it's like,
that's neat.
Yep. And
that's really neat.
Like some of my, one of my Navy girlfriends that, we were stationed in Italy together, and she's over in Virginia Beach, and I'm on a couple of the stations in her market. And every once in a while she'd be like, I heard you today. It's like, yeah, I hope it was a good one.
Yep. I know what you mean. I don't think anybody has caught anything of mine on television.
I love being caught in the wild.
It's neat. And the only one that I've got playing up here, I only say like 4 words or 5 words. So I don't think anybody's mentioned that to me. They hear it on the radio sometime, but that's just kind of fun. Let's talk about your automotive work, because that's always a fascination to me. And I know you had an award winner with that last year.
I did. I won Best Female Performance for Automotive.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And what type of spot was that?
It was a local market. Gebhardt BMW. It was for their electric vehicles that they were coming out with. And I regularly voice for them. But this one particular one, when I read it, it felt good. And then I asked him if I could have a copy of it to see, and he was cool enough to send it. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's a good one. Like, the producer did a fantastic job. The levels were great. I sounded great. And I was like, I just, you knew it. Like you can feel when they're right and when they're good. And I loved it. And I asked him, I was like, hey, is it cool if I entered this for an award? And they were like, oh, absolutely, sure. And they didn't really know what the One Voice Awards really were. And I told them a little bit about it. And then I told them like, hey, we got nominated for it. They're like, oh my God, that's fantastic. And they told, their whole production crew there at that agency. And then when I won it, I was like, we won. And they were, obviously they were incredibly happy for me. And I was like, dude, tell your producer they're amazing. Thank you guys so much tell the client, because I don't actually talk to Gebhardt BMW. I voice stuff for them today. But, I'm like, please pass along to them, know that the quality of work that you're giving you can officially say you guys are award-winning, production company and agency. Like it doesn't just feed me. Like it
right.
Give credit to the producers and the casting people, like the agency, that, that's something that they can, hang their hat on too. So
heck yeah.
Yeah,
right.
it was really fortunate. And, just when things come together, sometimes you can hear it, you can feel it, you know it. So
Right. Yep, I know exactly what you mean.
mhm.
So, we've got VO Atlanta coming up in March. I believe you're going.
I am going, yes.
That will be fun. I know we have in the Facebook group, there's at least 5 people out of that group that are going, I think, about 5. And then
Mhm,
I had somebody else reached out to me today asking about it. Art Brown, I think,
mhm.
was asking who all was going. So I don't know if he's coming. I think he's out in Burbank, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
But
one of the things I really wanna go, because I mean, I have friends like, that, in the voiceover community that, I've worked with. Like, I produced liners for Joe Cipriano back in, like, 2008, I think it was. Never
mhm,
met him in person, and, like, we've been friends on Facebook forever, but it's like, he's gonna be there, so I'll have a chance to
yeah,
be, "Hey, I'm real," and
yeah,
I coached with
exactly.
Dave Walsh. He's gonna be there. I have never met the
Hmm.
man in person. So, like,
Right,
and then I've got
right,
several friends that are teaching classes, and I mean, I like to think of them as friends.
right,
But
right,
yeah, no, they're my people. They're my voiceover tribe, and
right.
I want to take some of their classes to, support them and hopefully learn something. I'm sure I
Hmm.
will.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. A big part of me going to this particular conference this time is the socialization side of it. I only started going to conferences a couple years ago, and I had no idea what an injection that would be in terms of
Hmm.
being more excited about the craft, because and just having other people that understand what it's like to sit in a padded room talking to yourself
Right,
all day. And there's
right.
just an understanding that comes from that. And then it's funny to see the different genre of voiceover people that are there, because animated people are definitely a kind of person, and
Hmm.
narration people, they're definitely a kind of person, and commercial
Hmm.
voice, like, they're
Hmm.
not only are they different genres, but there really does kind of seem to be different personalities that really do well in those genres.
Right,
So it's just
right.
fun to see the whole dynamic of everything. And the voiceover community is always so giving and so available
Yes,
that
for sure.
it's just a treat to be around that kind of energy. And um yeah, so I'm not going to say that I became addicted to going to them, but I can definitely appreciate going. Even like last year, I didn't learn as much as I had hoped to when I was at One Voice. But in terms of relationships with people, that I mean, I wouldn't trade a minute of it, because some of the
Right.
people I got to talk to were new voices, and they, asked me questions, and I
Hmm.
did my
Hmm.
best to answer them. Like, well, in my experience, this, and seeing the number of women that were taking Cliff's class, for automotive and stuff. Like, I did that
Hmm.
a couple years ago, because
Yeah,
apparently I just needed that push to be like, yes, you can do automotive. And
right.
I, I guess it took being in that environment to be like, yes, go do, just do it. Don't think about it now. You can do it. Go do it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
just seeing that, and all the different levels of voiceover, in terms of people's careers that are there from beginning to, 30 plus years in the industry, and having the
Right.
longevity that they've had. It's just, I don't know. I definitely am a strong supporter of people going to a conference at least once, and don't think that you have to be further along in your career to go. That is complete
Right.
no. Just go.
Right.
Go to learn, and learn before you pick up bad habits, and don't learn the hard way. I learned most of my stuff trial by fire, or the hard way, or the wrong way. So,
Amen.
yeah. So if you can avoid that, it would be
Hmm.
worth a few $100 to go to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of days after I got back to get back into the groove of not being around people
Yeah.
again. There I was on Sunday morning sitting at the table having breakfast with Dave Fenoy, and it was just like sitting next to a guy I'd known for years.
Exactly.
It was fantastic. And the funny part, I've told this before, but we couldn't figure out if we were supposed to pay for the breakfast or not. We thought it was paid for. And so he said, "What do you think? Dine and dash?"
Heck yeah.
I said, "I'm game if you're game." And
That's
then
the
we
kind of
see him.
stuff that keeps you young right there.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I had a blast last year. I think I did 3 breakout sessions. I don't know that I'll do more than one this year,
Mhm.
but one of them was Cliff's, and it was about 50-50 as far as men and women
Yeah, we're fighting our way in
in
there.
there. Yeah, and I think it's fantastic. I'm glad to see. It's fun to do the tents on fire, come on down right now and bring your mom in a bucket of water, those screaming, yelling commercials.
Mhm.
But I love the more laid back stuff where it's not being just pushed down your throat.
Mhm.
And that's a lot better fit. And these branding of a lot of these vehicles for the female voice, it's perfect. It should be that way,
Mhm.
and that's not to say a female voice can't sell trucks. You see a little of that
Mhm.
even still. And I've noticed the Chevy Silverado commercials, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to say Chevy is gone off the wrong direction, but that guy's just a little too laid back for me for a truck commercial.
I
I'm
just
not
need a
loving
truck
it.
commercial to be have like this gritty male voice that it's like he's done some work, whether it's I don't know, some
Right.
kind of work with your
Right.
hands where you're getting dirty and just a warm, gritty, kind of laid back.
Yeah.
I'll get to it
Yeah.
when I get to it, but right now I got to fix this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect. That is exactly what you expect. And, the funny part when we were going through some of this when I was working with Cliff on my demo,
Mhm.
and I know I'm never going to be a national voice for
Why not?
I mean, like for you're not going to hear me do Acura or Lexus or something like that. Not
Yeah.
likely. But, I do. I would want to go after the, Chevy truck, Dodge, Ram, whatever, because that would be a fit.
Yeah, trucks are pretty much I'm not there yet. I don't know, maybe I can take up smoking 3 packs a day to get that deeper, gravelier, more. I don't know. I can't really
Yep.
do it. It'll mess me up. But yeah. I mean, I generally will be voicing. I do Lexus. I do BMW, Subaru, Nissan, Kia, Jeep. I mean, I do a lot of mid-range, price point vehicles,
Mhm.
and then more of the higher end.
Right.
I did Porsche
Right.
once. I was kind of surprised I did
Wow.
that one. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely style voices for those brands. And the way that I read a Lexus and a Lexus spot is different than I read a BMW spot, which is definitely different than a Nissan, because the Nissan, they
Mhm.
want more of a younger, voice. And so,
Mhm.
I pitch it up and they want a little bit more excitement to it. And like the Volkswagen, like for their Taos and stuff like that, they always want a very kind of like an excited millennial, but without the upspeak.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But then for BMW, they kind of want more of like an edgy sound to it, at least
Right.
at the moment. That's what they're
Right.
asking for. So
Yeah. Of course, I'm addicted to listening to commercials as much as I love voiceover and love voicing things.
well, that's also how you learn. Like you learn
It
what's
really
trending, you
is.
learn what's casting, and you're learning, okay, well, these are the kind of style reads that are booking right now. And
Mhm.
just listening to the delivery and recognizing, okay, that really worked. And I mean, that was one thing that took me a minute to get my head around with the day job is like now I mean, millions of people are hearing me, and the only people that really listen to commercials are the client, other voiceover people, and other producers. Like, I mean, everybody else is going to turn it off. Like, I make things people don't want to listen to. But especially in 2020 when COVID happened and everybody was at home and they're all taking that time to study, brush up, refresh demos, work on marketing and all that kind of stuff. Like, I was like, they're studying me. And it added an additional fun flavor of pressure on my side.
Mhm.
Aside from the fact of what we were having to read, what I was particularly being cast to read at that point,
Mhm.
which all of it, I mean, the lockdown for everybody was crazy, obviously. But, the first week of it, we're tearing commercials down right and left. And suddenly it's, read as many PSAs just so we can have stuff up there. And then the next week, I do a lot of animal shelter and animal adoption events and things like that. But this time there's an urgency because these shelters are being shut down and these animals are going to be euthanized if I don't get people to listen to me to adopt these animals. And
Mhm.
then, a couple weeks later, then it's all the mental health and be there to support each other. And, here's phone numbers that you can call. You're not alone. We're all in this together. Those phrases that we all are so sick of.
Right.
That happened. And then it was, and then after that, it was lots of college education and online learning and divorce lawyers. So I was like, oh, this is just interesting watching how this whole thing is folding.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But,
You've been
just
quarantined. Let's get a divorce. I'm sick of
exactly. Oh, I have to be with you all day. Oh, I really don't like you that much. Turns out. Weird. So, I mean, but then, I'm reading this stuff, but now I'm more conscious of people are at home listening to what I'm doing. And I had even had a conversation with Dave Walsh about it because he had posted something on his True Tell website or his Facebook or something. And I had seen it. And he's telling people, listen to the radio, listen to what's booking, listen to what's airing. And I'm like, you're telling them to listen to me. I was not comfortable with that idea.
That's funny.
But, that's the reality of it is, I mean, anything that you're recording or producing on my side of things, it's like no one knows that, oh, that spot was made by Jen. But I know it was made by me. Like, I want my work to reflect good work. And
Mhm.
especially knowing that, because I listen to other commercials, I listen to commercials all the time. There are definitely certain mediums that I won't watch advertising as much because it's kind of meh work. But most of the like networks and stuff, I'm not skipping or muting. I'm listening. And
Mhm.
so, if I'm listening, other people are listening too.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
I want people to be like, oh, she did a really good job. Or, maybe they do wonder who did that. That'd be cool. I admit there's been times that I've heard myself on the radio and I did not recognize myself right away.
Mhm.
Those are always embarrassing and weird. But at the same token, normally I'm like, oh, she did a really good job. I like that. And then it's like, oh, that was me. Okay. Well, at least I
That's
thought I
funny.
did a good job.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I tell new people all the time, whether it's going to somewhere like voices.com and listening to the top 100 or top 25 people's demos,
Mhm.
to not to mimic or copy, but to emulate and hear, this is what a good demo sounds like. Go to, listen to samples on Chuck Duran's site or whoever, JMC's, everybody's. Go
Mhm.
listen to those, and then you know
Well,
what a good demo is. And it's the same way with what you're saying here. Watch TV, pay attention to the stuff on the radio and listen to it. And
mhm.
like you said, what's getting booked? And if you can't emulate that and you're struggling emulating that, and then you go get coaching and you still can't emulate that, then maybe it is time to think I shouldn't be doing this.
Well,
But
and the other thing is these are the people that are competing for the same jobs you are. Everybody has a unique voice and sound. So it's
Mhm.
not about that part. But, and I mean, it's not like there's a shortage of jobs. That is not the case at all. But, these are the people that are your peers that you're competing and auditioning for these same spots. So,
Right.
you're going to want to push yourself and get better. And another place to look for good demo examples is like go to Atlas and some of those other really big agencies and
Mhm.
listen to the demos on the people on there that they represent. And you can find out what Bob Bergen's sounds like, or whomever. But you can hear their demos, and it's like these are the people that are represented, and you know part of their
Right.
demo is how they got it, as well as who they've been, who their clients are and things like that. So that's another good place to find really good quality demos is at some of the
Mhm.
top agencies because they have it. It's on their
Yeah,
site.
absolutely. Absolutely. If you wanted to throw some advice out there, because we have a pretty decent bucket of new people,
Mhm,
probably been doing this, a year or less, or maybe a couple of years.
mhm.
If you had some advice to throw to them about just the voiceover side of things, what would you tell the newcomer who's kind of got in, got their feet wet, they've got the desire to do this? What do you tell them to go do?
I would say listen. Listen to as much as you can. Listen to coaches. Find good resources that are out there, and just be patient with yourself, but don't be afraid to try. I mean, I was even told that today about, I mean, I know it's not voiceover, but I was told that about my production stuff, that there's times where I won't push myself to try to do a specific campaign or something like that because, I don't have as much experience as some of the other producers that I work. Most of the other producers, they all have years on me. But, and my boss was like, push yourself. Try it. Do it. Just do it. He's like, I understand being intimidated, but don't be. And that's the thing. Like, dive in and just do it. And the way that you learn in this industry is by playing and experimenting and trying and really push past your head. And the other part of it is also start developing a thick skin. And you're going to have to get over not knowing why or how you did, because you will not be getting feedback on pretty much everything you do. And you have to be able to record it, save it, submit it, forget it. And, then you have it saved. So when you do get booked, you can go back and listen to what you did that they liked. But you're not going to be able to know why this voice was chosen over that voice. Honestly, it could have been because the wind was coming in from the north on a Tuesday. That could be the reason you didn't get it. So you have to be okay with the not knowing part. And I think the other part that I would say is very important is having a voiceover family, voiceover tribe, something like that, to kind of, in a way, keep you accountable, but also to be there to cheer you on. Because there are times where it's really hard. You may not book for a while and you're like, what am I doing wrong? You may not be doing anything wrong. You may be doing everything right. Your voice just isn't getting chosen. And that gets in your head. And if you've got, other people to talk to, and you're saying, oh, well, I was doing all this work in November and December and it's, February. And I did like a couple of things in January, but I haven't booked anything in February. And they're like, hey, guess what? Me neither. And just to have, someone else that you can really talk to about, during the frustrating times. And then also be like, oh my God, I just booked something for the first time or 50th time, whatever, like just, to someone that can help cheer you on. So having kind of a support system, voiceover family, voiceover, I call them my voiceover tribe. I have my voiceover tribe and my cheerleaders. That's how I think of people that are in my life. And so I think that's something to definitely develop because connections are important, and especially in this business because it is a business and it is the entertainment business. So you never know. I mean, there's been times where I was working on a project and the person who cast it, they're like, I really haven't had any luck finding a good guy for this. And it's like, well, what are you looking for? And it's like, oh, hey, well, I know, Charles, or I know Mark, or, and I can send them a few demos and they're like, oh, hey, I'd like that one. So, and, there's times where I'll get an audition and it's like, I don't think my voice is really good for this. So I would send it to, Jodina or I don't know, whomever that I feel like, Carmen or Lisa, like whatever, just because they have very different voices than I do. And the same thing winds up coming around. Like Jodine will be like, hey, they want this. I can't talk as fast as you can. Would you want to give this a go? And, I mean, it's again, this whole community is very giving and supportive. And those relationships sometimes can, even work out to be work. Don't have the relationships with that as the intention, but connections, you never know what comes from them.
Yeah, very true. I've had a coaching relationship turn into a really great friendship, which turned into, hey, let me introduce you to a couple of my agents. And that, things like that happen through association, and a lot of good things happen through association. And like you said, this is in the entertainment world. It's important. And circling back to like VO Atlanta, if you have the opportunity to go there, what you'll find, if for those that haven't been or don't know, it's sort of what we were talking about. These are just everyday people like all of us are, and everybody's approachable, everybody's friendly, everybody will talk to you. I mean, you don't want to be that guy that's just constantly asking a million questions, but in the reality of it, all of these people are there to help you. They're there to inform you or keep you on a better path too. And what Jenna's talking about is having a, a, a small, even a smaller group. When you talk about your personal tribe, there's maybe a handful of people that talk to at least, almost once a day, it seems like one or two people. And it's like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm thinking about doing that. And, and it's somebody you trust, and maybe they're a little further ahead of you in your journey, and they can help keep you grounded. And I think it's good to have that mix of people that are a little ahead of you or maybe about where you are, and then people that are way ahead of you.
Well, and
I
actually
treasure people like that.
The first conference that I went to, talking to some of the new voices there, I actually wound up getting a lot out of that, because it was like, I didn't realize how far I've actually come.
Yes.
And so getting to speak to some of the newer people, it's like, oh, I remember that. And it's like, oh, that's not my life anymore. Like, I've moved past that. And this is what worked for me to get past that. But it gave me, more of a perspective of, you have been doing this a while. You have grown. You have improved. And this is an industry you never stop learning in. So,
Right. Exactly.
I may be doing great today, but the, style of voiceover may change in a couple of years, and I got to, figure it out and try to keep myself relevant so I can continue doing this.
Yeah, we have to retool. I have to hurry up and hit it big because I'm getting too old.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah. I do worry about that a little bit. When I first started in this, I thought, I wanted to get it going so I could retire from the automotive manufacturing industry and do this, in my retirement. And I just decided October before last that I can't do automotive anymore because COVID changed everything.
It really did.
Even the manufacturing industry changed so much. And two, in the last 10, 15 years, the way you're allowed to manage people has really changed, and it's become very difficult. It's like you're walking on eggshells all the time. So I was ready to get out. I didn't intend to do this full time for about 2 more years. So it was kind of a catapult, to jump in and do this. But I do have that. I don't have as much imposter syndrome anymore as I do have. You got to hurry up and get some things going, because
the pressure is real. The pressure never goes away,
and it never goes away.
Even if you have a list of clients, it's like, well, one of them could go away. I mean,
absolutely.
one of my very regular clients, I got lucky. They chose me, but the woman that I replaced, she was their voice for 14 years, and she finally aged out for what they were wanting. So, that makes me really hopeful for this particular client to stay with me for a while, because clearly they like to stay with somebody, but they could go away next month. I have no idea. So then it's, you're still always trying to collect. I'd like to think that there's a point where you're not collecting clients, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But you're always going to try to market yourself so that you can have more work, because you don't know how long the one you're going to be, like, you don't know how long this agency is going to want to keep using you. I mean, they might want to revoice a fresh voice every year. You don't know. They might want the same voice for 50 years. You don't know.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
That hustle, from what I understand, does not ever go away. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You're not going to be able to retire.
I don't expect to retire from this as long as I can speak. I think there's always, and I can't remember who told me this. It was one of my coaches that named off about 2 or 3 big industry VO folks and said they didn't really start making a ton of money till they were in their mid 60s. And it was because their voice was a fit for certain things. And that's where they really started cleaning up. And I said, well, that's what I'll count on. I'll ride that gravy train from 60 to 80. And then I can say I had a nice long voiceover career.
There you go.
Hopefully. Jenna, thanks so much for joining me. I think everybody's going to enjoy hearing this because this is a unique perspective on the business. It's not what we typically hear, and I think everybody will enjoy it. And what we will do at the tail end of the podcast, and I haven't asked you yet, but I want to get you to send me that award-winning spot. And
Okay.
I want to
It's
play
on my
that.
website, actually. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I want to play that here on the end. I want people to hear that. And it's their website and everything. Tell everybody what that is so they can go listen to it.
On my website at jennabirmingham.com, JennaBirmingham.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for helping me here lately. I don't know how we ended up bumping into each other, but I'm glad we did. I look forward to seeing you in Atlanta, and we'll cling the glasses together while we're there.
Yes, definitely. And if anybody who's listening wants to say hi, I am totally approachable. I tend to be a little bit awkward, and I don't really go up to people very often. That does not mean I'm not approachable.
That makes two of us. I'm rooming with a guy that we went together last year, and his name is Charles Coates. And Charles was the kid that always won the magazine sales contest in school.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he has no fear, no anything of talking to anyone.
See, I need one of those.
I tagged around behind him most of the time, and he once he got the conversation going, I enjoyed jumping in, but I'm not one just to walk up to somebody and hey, and who I am. I did have one guy come up to me, and you'll know his name when I tell you. He said, "Boy, I'm so glad to hear a voice from home." And I didn't know who he was. And he talked to me for a while. And finally I said, I told him who I was. He said, "I'm Jace Patrick." I said, "Well, I'll be darned. I know who you are now."
Yep.
But it was kind of funny. He said, "If you come back next year, let's be sure we sit down and talk for a while. I just love hearing a voice from Nashville." So that was really nice. But anyway, we'll look forward to that. Hey, thanks again.
My
thanks
pleasure.
everybody for listening. And here comes that spot from Jenna.
The world is changing for the better because Gebhardt BMW is ready to unleash a new electric future just for you. Pre-order now online to electrify your drive and experience the all-new i4 or iX. All it takes is a few minutes online to become part of a new generation of ultimate driving machines. Electrify your drive today with passion, integrity, value, and pride at Gebhardt BMW in Boulder, your trusted family dealership since 1975.
This was the VO Life. It's over. For now. Yay! Oh, aren't you all so glad?
You've been listening to the VO Life with Troy Holden. Check back for more episodes each week and catch up on what you've missed also. This is for you, those just living that VO life. Thanks for listening and join us again.